LSD?
LSTs. The LSTs, those transports.
LSD.
LST, wasn't it? Weren't they LSTs?
What?
Those
Hearing, pardon me.
Those LSTs, the ones with the flat bottoms you're talking about?
Yeah, well, LSD is the small one, the LST is the big one.
It was the bigger one. It was the big one, the LST.
That'd be the LST.
Yes, yeah, he was on the LST, but he was a
well,
cook.
that's what we escorted, and we didn't like that.
Yeah.
What's it
Because it
stand
took so
for,
long.
LSD?
They go 8 knots
Something,
as fast as they could go.
something transport.
Because they's carrying all that equipment and
Yeah.
the trees and that. So.
Dad, what did that stand for? LST and LSD?
Well, that's a classification of the ship.
Yeah, so long.
All of them have a
Transport.
classification. The LSD is the small, and the LST, if I could have it changed around, but I don't think so. They carried the equipment and the troops.
So what?
And they're
Long something destroyer? or
Well, they
long-
carry. That's what they always use for invasions.
No, I know that. I was wondering what the
Transport.
letters
T
stand
is
for.
transport.
Okay.
Well, that's just a description of it.
Okay.
That's a troop to carry troop and equipment only.
Okay.
Troop and equipment only.
You know, the funniest story I remember you always telling us was how good you had a guy. Somebody was always on the deck doing the weather.
Yeah.
So now they have all the radar stuff and all the whatever. They have the computer models that forecast the weather, and they're always wrong, right? And Dad could, he always told us how you had a guy on board on the deck. You could always tell when the weather was coming in based on
Clouds.
clouds, right?
But when when the war's over, we was only 300 miles away from Shanghai.
Yeah.
So we went in Shanghai, like I say, we was headed there to get some supplies because we'd been out a long time with no supplies. And they had a depot there. But then it was over, then we went in, they announced that I was on depth charge watch and just breaking day when they announced on the light speaker that the war was over. And it was 300 miles away from Shanghai then. So when the war's over, then we pulled in naturally. We was going in there, so we got to stay in Shanghai a little while.
Yeah. That's what my dad did. He went to China too, so he was.
What part?
My dad went to China. He went to China from Guam. He got a chance to go to
That
China.
was both of them, yeah.
Yep. So.
The reason my hearing isn't too good, the invasion of Saipan, I was a gun captain on Twin 40. You know what they are. They're Twin 40s.
Uh-huh.
And the invasion of Saipan, I lost my hearing there. I got it back, but nothing to do about it.
Has he been to the VA?
The injured.
Yeah.
It's
Hearing
permanent
aids?
damage.
Yeah.
It's permanent. They
The
can't
eardrums,
hearing aids don't
hearing
work.
aids don't work.
Okay.
Well, he has a
But
device.
anyway, I want to finish my story.
Okay.
he won't wear.
Well, it was over. We went in. They gave us 2.5 hours to go in ashore, And at that time, if we got a carton of cigarettes for 45 cents. In other words, a nickel a pack, but no tax. So we was all smoking, and it's all we had to do. Smoke and listen to Tokyo Rose at night. So, anyway, it was in there. We went in. There's only one place. No buses or nothing like that, but rickshaws is the only thing running in. So we asked this guy with the rickshaw if there's any place around that you could get a drink. And all they got, that doggone beer, rice beer. That's all they got. It's horrible. It tasted good.
Back then, it probably didn't really.
Anyway, there was a big table. There was a big table and had all 4 guys there in black robes. Well, as only the merchants and the big people can wear the black robe. That's why China, they got 2 classes. It's them and the peasants. That's all. It's sad, really.
Yeah.
But anyway, they could talk very good English, and I think one of them was a military man. And they wouldn't leave us alone. They wanted to know where we've been, what we've been doing, this and that. And I don't know if this is true, but I think it is. They said that Japan had tried to surrender about 3 months earlier, but we wouldn't accept it because we was making the atomic bomb and we was getting ready to drop it. So it makes sense. I don't know if it's true, but that's what they told me. I think this one guy was a military guy. And Incidentally, on the way back, we stopped and looked at it. That's pathetic. So I can understand why. A horrible death, unbelievable. You can't believe it.
You're talking about where they dropped the bombs?
On the way back, the war's over. We caught it. It was out. You know, it was out of. Is a quarantine. Nobody get on it.
Right.
We could get probably 100 yards from it, from the ocean, and watch twisted. One big. It was the headquarters, I guess. That's why they dropped the bomb there. Everything for a couple of miles, just bright orange and dark from the bomb. And it's a 6-story building, steel on it, coming down, just twisted, like pretzel, you know. So anyway, it was interesting. They said that Japan had tried, but and that might be right, because we was getting close to that area where the war ended. You know, they signed on the Missouris, you know. So they said Japan had tried to surrender because we had that one of the authorities getting ready to drop the atomic bomb on Nagasaki or Hiroshima, one of the two. And they said that about, but we wouldn't accept it, and that was the reason we wouldn't accept Japanese first surrender. Unconditional. It just. You ever hear anything about? Was any of you in China or Japan?
I've been to Japan.
What part of Japan? What year was that?
Well, that was about 5 years ago, so pretty recent.
5 years. Yeah. No.
A little different these days.
This was in 46.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah.
Did your dad, did he get
And
out
you know-
in 46?
They
Yeah,
told
he
us.
got out. Yeah, he got back in '46.
We
We
got a telegram, and I got downstairs, but I think Tim's got it locked up. When it was over, I was a gunner's mate, and I lost my hearing, like I told you, the days in a Saipan. But so I can hear okay, but and I can hear men real good, but I can't hear women very well.
That
I
could
can't-
be
I
choice.
can't either.
by choice,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell me how lucky I am.
I can't hear my wife.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can hear.
What?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can hear my wife.
Yeah.
Things that's important I
Want
can't
to
hear.
borrow my ears? I know my
Yeah.
wife passed away 5 years ago, 1st of May. 5 years ago. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of truth. That makes sense. You spend millions of dollars to make that atomic bomb,
Yeah.
and you know where you're going to drop it and who on.
Well, I don't know if I've ever heard that, but
No, nobody. These merchants was telling us that. One
Speculation
was a
is-
military man in black robe.
I think speculation would be, hey,
It could be speculation.
Germany after World War I, they surrendered and they come back, they rebuilt their force, and then there was another war, about 20 years later. So maybe they said, we don't want Japan coming back. That could be the reason if that was the,
Yeah.
if that was the reason. I mean,
That would make sense.
Well, I really was
Yeah.
talking. And they bought us each around that rice beer, but it wasn't really a good drink. It was horrible. No grain over there,
yeah.
And then all you can see over there is a wire string running across the fish with old fish hanging on it, that dry, no refrigeration.
Yeah.
That is really primitive over there. It's almost a shame.
Yeah.
Of course, that's 70 years ago.
Quite a
Well,
while.
Close to it, so. Any of you got any questions about the ships that I
So-
might be able to tell you?
How many people did you have on the ship?
122 was the top. I got on it. They took a load of us, a ship of us, up to Alaska, and so the USS Herald, the 122, the Fleet Minesweeper, was just commissioned. So it was on a trial run from being commissioned, and it just been commissioned. Going up the inland passage and that. For a shakedown cruise, and they had 50, and then we had just got off of the ships up there, and we got transferred then to the USS Herald, and then the Aleutian Islands pretty close to Russia up there, They told us don't fall in the water up there; it's so cold up there.
Yeah.
You're dead in 4 minutes. That's how cold.
From one extreme to the other.
One of the richest oil fields they claim, at the end of the Aleutian Islands up there by Russia, but it's so dang cold. no trees, no vegetation or nothing, you
Yeah.
know. So I don't know, I know that's true because we was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we went up there, reason for that, they never did say anything.
Yeah.
But then at Dutch Harbor, Alaska, on one of the barracks, a bunch of bullet holes. And that's what they told us when we was up there. We was up there just get things ready to go to South Pacific. That it had to be a submarine from the Jap. It couldn't be a ship because or a plane because the planes, all prop planes. There's no jets there, and they couldn't. No way they could get all the way up there. Impossible. So it had to be a submarine. So there's bullet holes you never up in Alaska on the barracks up there. So a submarine must have come up there. They figured that's why they sent us up there because of our sonar. But of course we couldn't find nothing, you know.
Right.
We just run around. We ran around for a few days and then went to South Pacific and stayed there. And just started off from Eniwetok to every island, Guam, Saipan, Tinian, all them, and ended up at Okinawa. Not Okinawa, but like I said, or Iwo Jima.
So when you were crossing, when you were going through the Pacific, did you were you guys tackling a lot of kamikazes?
Is that down by the equator?
Well, the kamikaze, the suicide pilots for Japan.
Oh,
The
they did that at last
Towards
war,
the end there, yeah, that's where the kind
Yeah,
of
what
when
they
were,
would do, they would, you know, it's just prop planes, no
Right.
jet.
Right.
What they do, we'd sleep on the steel deck up when we was that close, and we on our life jackets for a pillow.
Yeah.
Because they always come in just at the break of day.
Right.
They just come in to break a day, flying high, you wouldn't know it. And that's when they would dive down, but they never picked on us because they were after the battle wagons and,
Right.
and the cruisers, the big ships. So
Yeah.
we didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But that only happened 3-4 times.
Yeah, but that was towards the end of your, that was getting towards
That was pretty much
closer
the
to
end of the
Japan,
war, yeah.
getting closer to Japan, you know. So
Did they just dive down, Dad, or did they shoot?
Well, no, of course they shot. All they had was machine guns and bombs.
Yeah.
That's where Chuck Knight got killed on the Midway. They got one of the bombs on the Midway there, and that's what killed Chuck Knight. You didn't know him. They lived up here, about 10 blocks.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where Raleigh Cush got it. At California, the end of the war, that was what knocked the going on there because that last big air battle, as you probably remember, was when the California was up there at the end of the war. And that was when the big air battle went on. That's where Raleigh Cush got killed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that was on the California. He was striking for gunner's mate too
Yeah.
at that time. So that's about it. If any of you want to know about any of them islands or ships, if I know. Tell you what little I know.
well, it sounds like you remember quite a bit, though.
Pardon?
Sounds like you remember quite a bit.
I remember all, but that's the worst of it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
hard to get rid of that. It took me
Yeah.
quite a few years.
Yeah.
That's what made a lot of them nuts, you know.
Yeah.
We only had one go crazy, though. But I felt sorry for him. He slept across from me. Real nice young kid. Well, I was only 19 at that time
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Because they were drafting from 18 to 35 at that time. That's why we joined the Navy. We didn't want to go into the Army. We went up and saw the draft guy, Chuck Cerny. He was in charge of the Howard County Draft Board. He said, you two guys are on the next draft list, so we didn't want that for the Army. So that's why we joined the Navy. And I don't know if that was a mistake or not.
So you said Howard County?
Huh?
Is
Yeah.
that- you're from Howard County, St. Paul?
St.
There?
Paul,
Yeah.
Elba, Nebraska, yeah. They have a nice memorial there. So we went before one of his older brothers passed away, or maybe it was right after Uncle Tony died, Dad. We went to the memorial. We'd never been there, so it had his older brother's name and his name in the bricks.
Okay.
Right? Is
Yeah,
that in St. Paul, Dad? Or,
St. Paul, yeah, the park there, yeah.
yeah.
I'm speaking there on Monday, actually.
Oh, you are
Yeah,
in St. Paul?
You what?
I'm speaking
Oh.
there on Monday.
You're going up there?
I am.
Where
you
are you
know,
gonna go?
they gave everyone, like I told you, we'd been there so long, felt sorry for us. They would go in, and everyone on our ship brought a gun from Japan.
Really?
We were the only ones that got that. Because we went to this warehouse. They're stacked up like, you know how shocks are of wheat, how they shock up wheat. That's the way these were, hundreds of guns, the old warehouse. And we got one for every guy on our ship, and I got one downstairs. I don't know, Tim's got it locked up.
Is
If
it
you wanna
down there,
look at
Tim?
it, the only thing about
Is it
them
down there?
is, you
Go
know,
get it.
is the only thing interesting about that is what they're like. This is a 707.
Tim is gonna go get it, Dad, is that
The
okay?
only reason I think they might be interested is, you know, there's no wood in Japan, in China. So you'll see on this, you'll see on the stalk how crude that wood is.
Yeah.
But this is what they all had. I think it's made out of crates and stuff, you know, because, you know, they had nothing else. This is 707. They had another